Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Little Theater, the Mead Little Theater through the Theater Institute at Sage College. I'm glad you all made it here, and we're really glad that it's not snowing or icy yet, so we will get our play in tonight. I am thrilled to announce our play tonight. We're doing 2 acts, Japanese folk tales, the first part. We'll take a very brief intermission, and then we will have our Greek mythology Olympia Gonza. So at this point, I'd like to introduce our director number 1, Ron Glasser, who has been with us since the beginning. Ron Glasser.
Good evening.
Evening.
Nice. Well, it's very exciting. I'm always very proud of my actors. This is an experiment. This is the first time we've done 2 full acts, full performances. We've had a large crowd in our class this time, so we decided let's give them all a shot at doing something very different. This is live theater, which means whatever happens, happens. We had a lot of fun doing this, and we have a lot of new individuals in this class, and they're all very excited. They're all very laissez-faire during the rehearsals, and now it's like, wait a minute. So, and then the directors and assistant directors are the opposite. So, enjoy the show, relax, and have a good time. Oh, one more thing. During the Japanese folk tales, there's a very rapid succession of individual pieces. So we have our costumes and sets on stage and just off stage. So in between each one, there'll be a slight pause in getting people into new costumes and new sets. So you'll get to see how theater really works. So thank you very much.
Monkey has been China's favorite superhero for at least 5 centuries. She's amazingly strong, she can fly, and she has a few tricks you will find amazing. She's always ready to do battle with demons, dragons, and sometimes even with the gods.
Monkey stars in The Journey to the West, an epic comic fantasy in the 16th century. The plot we're told here is about how Monkey is taken on to the land of death, but not for long.
On the surface of the Eastern Sea, not far from the Dragon King's palace, Monkey landed lightly on a barren rock. Lightly on a barren rock that jutted above the waves, stretching herself out on it. She yawned and then studied the sky.
Now that I'm an immortal, I think I'll fly to heaven and become a god as well. That's all after a good nap.
He closed his eyes and quickly drifted into sleep.
All at once, Monkey felt herself jerk to her feet.
Huh?
2 men were clutching his elbows. One had the face of a horse, the other had the head of an ox.
Horseface held an official document which she studied closely.
Is your name Monkey?
That's right.
All right, get moving.
They started to drag him off, stumbling. Once Monkey happened to glance back, there he saw himself still lying on the ground.
What?
They rounded the rock and started across a desolate plain. The sea was nowhere in sight.
Where is this, and how did I get here?
She wants to know how she got here.
I got this convinced everyone.
After a while, they came to the wall of a city. Above the gate was an iron placard with characters inlaid in gold. Demon, Gate of the Land of Darkness.
Land of Darkness? But that's the Ramayama, Lord of the Dead. I don't belong here.
That's what they all say.
But I'm an immortal. I've gone beyond death.
Kind of in charge.
All right, I will.
Oh, Monkey snatched his staff from his hiding place in his ear.
Grow.
And in half a moment, he was swinging 5 feet of it.
We didn't need it.
I did take control.
Said Oxhead racing out.
Cried Horseface, fleeing through the gate. Monkey followed him in and still swinging her staff. The demon of the city were terrified, and not one of them dared to get in her way.
By the time Monkey reached the Palace of Darkness, Lord Yama was waiting on the steps.
Sir, what seems to be the trouble?
The trouble is you brought me here.
But sir, I assure you, you will be judged fairly and punished. I mean, re-educated strictly according to your past deed. Then, when the evil you've done has been avenged, corrected, you'll be returned to the land of life for a brand new life.
I don't want to be reborn. I don't want to die in the first place. Don't you realize I'm an immortal?
An immortal? There must be some mistake.
Exactly. I demand to see the register of life and death.
Yama led him into the Hall of Darkness, where a clerk dragged out several musty volumes. Monkey searched till she found her name.
Writing brush. That should do it.
And the clerk gave him one dipped in ink. Monkey followed his name from the register.
That should do it.
This is most irregular.
Tell it to the judge.
She slammed the book shut and rushed out. Then she made her way back to the city wall, swinging her staff as she went.
Just outside the gate, Monkey tripped and fell, rolling when he opened his eyes. He was back on the rock in the eastern sea.
Wonderful.
Cried Monkey as she jumped to her feet.
Next up,
crops for many years, one day his horse ran away. Upon hearing the news, his neighbors came to visit.
Oh, perhaps.
The next morning, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 other wild horses.
Oh, perhaps.
The following day, his son tried to ride one of the untamed horses, was thrown and broke his leg. The neighbors again came to offer their sympathy on his misfortune.
Perhaps.
The day after, military officials came to the village to drift young men into the army. Seeing that the son's leg was broken, they passed him by.
What?
Bad fortune.
Good fortune!
Oh, perhaps.
The Prime Minister of the Tang Dynasty was a national hero for his success as both a statesman and a military leader. But despite his fame, power, and wealth, he considered himself a humble and devoted Buddhist. Often he visited his favorite Zen master to study under him. They seemed to get along very well. The fact that he was Prime Minister apparently had no effect on their relationship, which seemed to be simply one of revered master and respectful student. One day, during his usual visit, the Prime Minister asked the master,
Your Reverence, what is egotism according to Buddhism?
The master's face turned red and a very condescending and insulting tone of voice said,
What? What stupid question is that?
This unexpected response so shocked the Prime Minister that he became sullen and angry. The Zen master smiled.
This, Your Excellency, is egotism.
A master of the tea ceremony in old Japan once accidentally slighted a soldier. He quickly apologized, but the rather impetuous soldier demanded that the matter be settled in a sword duel. The tea master, who had no experience with swords, asked the advice of a fellow Zen master who did possess such skill. As he was served by his friend, the Zen swordsman could not help but notice how the tea master performed his art with perfect concentration and tranquility.
Tomorrow, when you duel the soldier, hold your weapon above your head as if ready to strike and face him with the same concentration and tranquility with which you perform tea ceremony.
The next day, at the appointed time and place for the duel, the tea master followed this advice. The soldier, readying himself to strike, stared for a long time into the fully attentive but calm face of the master. Finally, the soldier lowered his sword, apologized for his arrogance, and left without a blow being struck.
The people who lived in the village were always arguing and fighting amongst each other, about God and different religions. They could never agree on the common answer. So they came to Buddha to find out exactly what God looks like.
We'll get a large, magnificent elephant and 6 blind men. Describe what an elephant looks like.
It feels like a tree trunk.
The elephant is a wall.
The elephant looks like a fan.
That was a piece of road.
The elephant is a spear.
The elephant was a snake.
Each blind man had touched the elephant, but each of them gives a different description of the animal. Which answer is right? All of them are right. Why? Because everyone can only see one part of the elephant. They are not able to see the whole animal. The same applies to God and religions. No one will see him completely.
By this parable, Buddha taught us that we should respect all other religions and their beliefs.
Word spread across the countryside about the wise holy man who lived in a small house atop of the mountain. A man from the village decided to make the long and difficult journey to visit him. When he arrived at the house, he saw an old servant inside who greeted him at the door.
I would like to see the wise holy man.
The servant smiled and led him inside. As they walked through the house, the man from the village looked eagerly around the house, anticipating his encounter with the holy man. Before he knew it, He had been led to the back door and escorted outside. He stopped and turned to the servant.
I would like to see the holy man.
You already have. Everyone you meet in life, even if they appear plain and insignificant, see each of them as someone wise and holy. If you do this, then whatever problem you brought here today will be solved.
Long ago, there lived in the province of Shenzhen in Japan a traveling monkey man who earned his living by taking round a monkey and showing off the animal's tricks.
Send for the butcher tomorrow morning.
Why do you wish to be the son for the butcher?
He's no use taking that monkey around any longer. She's too old and forgot her tricks. I beat her with a stick. All I know how. Butcher and make what money out of her I can. There is nothing else to be done.
Please spare the monkey!
Her pleading was all in vain. The man was determined to sell the monkey to the butcher. She soon understood that she was to be killed, and she said to herself,
For barbarous, indeed, is my master. Here I have served him for years, but instead of allowing me to end my days comfortably and in peace, he is letting me be cut up by the butcher and my poor body to be stewed and roasted and stewed and eaten. Woe is me! What am I to do? Ah! A bright thought has struck me. There is I know, a wild boar living in the forest nearby. I have often heard tell of his wisdom. Perhaps I will go to him and tell him the strait I am in, and he will give me my counsel. I will go and try.
There was no time to lose. The monkey slipped out of the house and ran as quickly as she could to the forest to find the boar.
Good Mr. Boar, I have heard of your excellent wisdom. I am in great trouble. You alone can help me. I have grown old in the service of my master, and because I cannot dance properly, now he intends to sell me to the butcher. What do you advise me to do? I know how clever you are.
The boar was pleased at the flattery and determined to help the monkey. He thought for a little while and then said,
Hasn't your master a baby?
Oh yes, one infant son.
Doesn't it lie by the door in the morning when your mistress begins the work of the day? Well, I will come around early, and when I see my opportunity, I will seize the child and run off with it.
What then?
Why, the mother will be in a tremendous scare, and before your master and mistress know what to do, you must run after me and rescue the child and take it home safely to its parents. You will see that when the butcher comes, they will not have the heart to sell you.
The monkey thanked the boar many times and then went home. She did not sleep much that night, and as you may imagine, for thinking of tomorrow, her life depended on whether the boar's plan succeeded or not. He was the first up, waiting anxiously for what was to happen. It seems to her a very long time before her master's wife, began to move about and open the shutter to let in the light of day. Then all happened as the board had planned. The mother placed her child near the porch, as usual, while she tidied up the house and got her breakfast ready. The child was groaning happily in the morning sunlight, dabbing on the mat at the play of light and shadow. Suddenly, there was a noise in the porch and a loud cry from the child. Wah! Wah! The mother ran out from the kitchen to the spot, only just in time to see the boar disappearing through the gate with her child in its clutch. She flung out her hands with a loud cry of despair and rushed into the inner room where her husband was still sleeping soundly.
What is that noise all about?
By the time the man knew what had happened, and they both got outside the gate, they saw the monkey returning with the child, safe and sound. Here, this is.
So this is the animal you want to kill? If the monkey hasn't been here, we cannot know child forever!
You are right, wife, for once. We may send the butcher back when he comes and now give us all a good breakfast and the monkey too.
When the butcher arrived, he was sent away with an order for some boar's meat for the evening dinner. The monkey was petted. The monkey was petted and lived the rest of her days in peace. Nor did her master ever strike her again.
It is between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, ignorance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, self-doubt, and ego. The other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too.
What wolf will win?
The one you feed.
Hansen and Ecuador were once traveling together down a muddy road. A heavy rain was still falling. Coming around a bend, they met a lovely girl in a silk kimono and sash, unable to cross the intersection.
females, especially not young and lovely ones. It is dangerous. Why did you do that?
Oh, I was just helping her cross the muddy road.
Letting go can be difficult, but you'll torture yourself mentally and emotionally by holding on. Breathe deep and let it go. Life doesn't follow the script. Rules are bent and broken. The ideal doesn't match the real. But curing wounds long after the battle is done is a mark of immaturity.
During a monumentous battle, a Japanese general decided to attack. You know, his army was greatly outnumbered. He was confident they would win, but his men were filled with doubt. On the way to the battle, they stopped at a religious shrine.
I shall now toss this coin. If it lands on heads, we shall win. If it lands on tails, we shall lose. Destiny will reveal itself.
He threw the coin into the air, and all watched intently as it landed. It was heads. The soldiers were so overfilled with confidence that they vigorously attacked the enemy and were victorious after the battle.
No one can change dynasty, destiny.
Quite right.
Ah, a coin with heads on both sides.
What happens to the man after your enlightenment?
How should I know?
You should know because you're the master.
Yes, but I'm not that one.
There once was a monastery that was very strict, following a vow of silence. No one was allowed to speak at all. But there was one exception to this rule. Every 10 years, the monks were permitted to speak just 2 words. After spending his first 10 years at the monastery, one monk went to the head monk.
It has been 10 years. What are the 2 words you would like to speak?
Food or bad heart.
I see.
10 years later, the monk returned to the head monk's office.
It has been more than 10 years. What are the 2 words you would like to speak?
Food stinks.
I see.
Yet another 10 years passed, and the monk once again met with the head monk.
What are your 2 words now after these 10 years?
I quit.
Well, I can see why. All you ever do is complain.
We will have a short intermission while we set up for the second act. Thank you very much.